As Bangladesh is getting closer to the next national election, one question is becoming more and more relevant every day. Can Jamaat-e-Islami, the biggest Islamist political party of Bangladesh, emerge as a serious contender for power this time? This comes up in the backdrop of the declining popularity of the biggest political party of Bangladesh, which is Bangladesh Nationalist Party (BNP). BNP is currently facing serious image crisis, declining popularity due to ongoing criticism around a lot of things. And at the same time, it seems Jamaat is becoming more and more visible than ever before, and it is gaining more popularity. But the question is whether this popularity is enough for them to form the government. And with all this context, there is another question which has always chased Jamaat-e-Islami like a shadow, which is their role during the War of Independence in 1971. And today we'll try to talk about whether this past still realistically determines the political reality of Jamaat in the future. Now, it is historically established that Jamaat has opposed the idea of independence of Bangladesh in 1971. And when Bangladesh became independent, suddenly Jamaat finds itself in the wrong side of the history, and for that they had to pay heavy legal and political price. Many of their leaders have been executed uh, after they were called the collaborators of West Pakistani rulers. The judicial process was highly criticized, but still they had to pay the price. And then we have seen that over the years, many Jamaat leaders have tried to issue apology for their past events or past wrongdoings that may have caused misery in the life of public. They have not singled out 1971. They have said it in a general form that they are sorry for every wrongdoings in the past. Yet, despite these repeated apologies, the response from the secular or leftist intellectuals have been always the same, that these apologies are never enough. No matter how many times Jamaat apologizes, these are not genuine enough. And in a recent report made by BBC News Bangla, we have seen that they have tried to show multiple clips from their archive where we have seen that Jamaat leaders, or including Amirs of Jamaat, have tried to issue apology and have tried to bring this issue. And they have said that if any of their wrongdoings have caused public misery, then they regret and apologize for that. And in the end of that video, or at the end of that report, one prominent leftist intellectual called Professor Anu Mohammed was asked about it. And he dismissed all this as performative apology. And he said that these were given under current public pressure, or they're trying to protect their supporters or protect their vote bank, etc. So the message is clear from this, and this has always been clear, that no matter how many times Jamaat apologizes, it will never be accepted as genuine. So from this one brute reality that becomes clear, that for the secular narrative controllers or the media narratives, Jamaat's apology is never meant to be accepted. Rather, it is meant to be demanded always, because that's how the party becomes permanently guilty, and it is always in the defensive position. So here is actually a moral hypocrisy that we must discuss. Jamaat was really not the only political party that opposed the idea of independence in 1971. Rather, there were some leftist Maoist parties as well which opposed the idea of independence, yet they were never forced into this permanent public repentance like Jamaat-e-Islami. Now, they were never also called anti-liberation, and their issues were never brought into public. So the question is, why Jamaat-e-Islami is singled out in this? The answer is actually political, not historical. Well, singling out Jamaat serves actually a deeper ideological purpose, which is it creates a permanent stigma around politics based on religion. And if Islamist politics is permanently linked with criminal history, then banning it or suppressing it becomes more justifiable and easier. So the issue is just no longer about 1971. It has rather become a pretext to delegitimize Islamist politics. And that is where the point comes. If, under this logic, Jamaat is actually trapped into a political cage. So it is like this: if they apologize, then it is never genuine, and if they don't apologize, then they're the criminals. So this actually becomes, either way, they are politically disqualified. So the conclusion is, apologizing any further means nothing politically. So now we must talk about the living reality of Bangladesh in 2025. Now, Bangladesh today is not really living in 1971, although it is true that people respect and deeply respect the Liberation War, and Liberation War is an inseparable part of the history of Bangladesh, and it is established that Jamaat was on the wrong side of the history. So they cannot undo this. But politically speaking, most voters today are far more concerned about their living reality rather than symbolism, or rather than the trade of 1971, which we call the selling the sentiment of 1971, which was sold far better than anyone by Awami League government. And this idea of calling others, or calling others collaborators of West Pakistani rulers to delegitimize their point was a strategy carried out by Awami League during their regime. And with the fall of their regime, this idea fall apart as well. That's why a new reality emerges, where people are more concerned about their living reality. And the living reality in Bangladesh is based on multiple issues. First of all, Bangladeshi people are living under serious economic conditions. Now, the rising cost of everything, and the rising cost of healthcare, rising cost of education. Education is coming at a high price here. The healthcare is almost broken, and graduate people are facing unemployment problem. So all these issues are more vibrant than the issue of symbolism of 1971. That's why Jamaat has to solve this real problem. If Jamaat continues to remain stuck with the debate of past guilt and apology, then it will lose the chance to address the real issues of public. And there is another bigger issue that Jamaat needs to address. There is a contradiction in their slogan. They are asking that if you vote for Jamaat, or they're seeking vote in the name of Islam. That means their slogan is voting for Jamaat means voting for Islam. So they're also spreading slogans like this: the first vote of youth should be for Islam. So that means they're simply saying that if you vote for us, then it is equal to voting for Islam. But at the same time, some of their top brass leaders have stated it publicly that Jamaat is a modern, democratic, moderate party, and Jamaat will establish a welfare state. So a modern welfare state is far different from a comprehensive Islamic system. No matter how many times you try to blend them, they are actually different. So Jamaat should clarify their point. They are seeking vote in the name of Islam, and if they, after coming to power, if they start governing the system like a secular democratic welfare government, then it would not be politics, it would be hypocrisy. So they should clarify their standpoint, whether what they want to establish, whether it is a welfare state, or a secular state, or moderate state, or an Islamic state. Otherwise, it would be a moral betrayal to their supporters and the voters. So they should clarify their standpoint on how the system would look like, how the legal system would look like, how the governance, economy, social policies would look like under their interpretation of Islamic system. And at the same time also, they should clarify their plans in their manifesto on how they want to see the Bangladesh growing in the days to come, and that's how they can actually reach the people and do something substantial. Otherwise, it would simply be a hypocrisy from their side as well.